Hi friends, coffee is going to get us through this video because I have truly been dreading making this since it's been a months-long battle of seeking accountability and truth and justice in the death of our dog, our family member, a healthy, not even 3-year-old mini golden doodle who was under the care of a Rover sitter. When I say emotional and mental distress is real, it's not even funny. I have the videos to show you the stress and the toll it has taken on us day after day, email after email, waiting for autopsy results, fighting with Rover to get some sort of compassion, to get some sort of accountability and answers. We finally have those autopsy results and our war with Over has come to an end. And you've all invested so much into our story and we're so thankful for all of your support, all of your love, all of your prayers, all the videos you guys have made in support of us, and we just couldn't be thankful enough for you. So in this video, I'm going to do a quick recap of what happened to our dog. We're going to go over the autopsy and Rover's response. Before we get fully into this, I do want to say that based on our experience, I cannot in good faith recommend using this company, not as a pet owner and not as a sitter. And you're going to see why. The lack of transparency, accountability, and compassion has truly astounded our family. And the only thing we can do at this point to seek justice is to just share our story and what we've learned so you guys can make your own private decisions on how you handle the care of your dearly loved family members. So for those of you who are new, this is what happened. Our dog Luca was just shy of 3 years old. He was healthy. He was happy every time he went to the vet, clear bill of health. And we were on a family vacation. It was day 4 of day 5 of picking him up, and he had died under the care of a Rover sitter. I share stories on this channel. If you guys love diving deeper into the stories you see all over the internet, then this is the channel for you. But I never thought our family would become the story. And as a journalist, I felt it was only appropriate to share what we were going through because this is a story that affects all of us. The way Rover has handled this has left us devastated, confused, and determined to warn families like yourselves. And I also want to make this clear. This is not about one single sitter. This is about what I believe is systemic issues in training, accountability, and how a massive corporation handles the people that they say they take good care of. So the week that Luca was being watched by the sitter, we had followed all the protocols that we were told to follow, right? We did a meet and greet. We picked someone with great reviews. We picked someone with training, and we went to their house. We specifically picked this environment because it had a few dogs there for Luca to hang out with. We thought, this is great. This is like a 5-day thing. We should give him some interaction with other dogs, right? Every day we were receiving port cards. It was great. And then the night before Luca passed, we had not received a port card. We had not received any photos. And we were just told, hey, Luca vomited a little bit, but don't worry, we're keeping an eye on him. You know, it was very much downplayed. And this was about almost 9 p.m. Since it's being downplayed to us, we're responding like, okay, like it's not uncommon for dogs to you throw up from time to time. You know, that's okay. Just keep an eye on him. Watch out for the heat. By the next morning, he had passed away. The sitter reached out to us on Rover and said, hey, can you give us a call? And I just felt like it was going to be bad. They said, Luca is non-responsive. What do you want us to do? I'm like, take him to the emergency room. Like, what? How is this even? The sitter lets me know that she could not reach out to me without going through Rover first. To me, those critical moments are everything. Think about a loved one of yours and something happens and they collapse and you have to wait to ask if you can take them to the emergency room. Like every minute matters when it comes to human life, when it comes to animal life. They take him to the emergency room and they say that he had died upon arrival. He was already dead upon arrival. No one understood what had happened. We learn later on that the sitter tells us that Luca did seem to have a lot of anxiety while he was under their care and was pretty skittish, but they wouldn't classify it as anxiety that they've seen in other like German Shepherd type of dogs. But my dog is a mini golden doodle. He's 13 pounds. So I doubt that he's going to act the same way as a German Shepherd, right? So we learned that he had a lot of anxiety. Also, we clocked this later, but we received his food back, and I promised myself I would not get emotional. It's really hard when you don't have very clear answers. And if you're looking for super clear answers in this video, I'm going to tell you they're not super clear. And I'm going to take you through them. More than half of his food had been returned to us, which indicated he really wasn't eating as much as he should have been. He's 13 pounds. He has a lot of energy. This pairs with the anxiety, right? I'm making inferences, but this is also what our vet was explaining to us. So we reached out to Rover. We said, oh my God, what are you guys going to do? Like, we need to talk to leadership. Like, this is a terrible situation. The worst thing that could happen to a pet happened, and that's that he died. This was our first time using Rover, like boarding. And they said back and forth, like so many emails. They kept telling us over and over again that there's nothing we can do unless you get a necropsy and we see those results. A necropsy, the veterinarian tells us there's a 50% chance that it's not going to say anything. In that case, Rover was implying like, unless your necropsy says something, we cannot compensate you. It's tied. Our hands are tied. He could have died from anything. So they said a necropsy is crucial and paramount to the investigation. We said, okay, well, can confirm that you'll pay for materials that you are saying that is paramount and crucial to the investigation? They said, no, we cannot confirm that. But in order to even consider this, you have to go get it. So already we're feeling, pretty abandoned at this point, but obviously we want to know what happens. So we have to wait 6 to 8 weeks to get the necropsy. We get a call from the veterinarian saying the autopsy has arrived. We're on our way to Michigan. I put it on speakerphone. I'm recording the conversation for our records so I can have that information to share with you. And the necropsy concluded the cause of death is not histologically apparent. So there was no apparent case of any sort of underlying condition. They said the most significant histological finding is moderate diffuse hepatic lipidosis. You might say, what does that even mean? Well, on the phone, our veterinarian carefully explained, quote, unfortunately, the cause of death is not histologically apparent. The liver changes, though, are most consistent with hepatic lipidosis, which sometimes develops if an animal hasn't been eating enough. That suggests either an underlying endocrine disease or simply reduced intake. But I cannot prove either from a necropsy alone. She added, one might say, what does that mean? And she said that a hepatic lipidosis means a fatty liver. She said, quote, in cats, we often see this when they've stopped eating for several days. It is possible Luca wasn't eating as much as he normally did. More than half the food he provided was returned uneaten. Our veterinarian said this actually is more common in cats, and animals can develop a fatty liver over the course of not eating enough within 3 to 5 days. And essentially, they start eating their own sugar and their own energy in order to survive. That's how a fatty liver is developed. This is what could have happened to Luca. We said, do you think this was preventable? She said, quote, I wouldn't call it preventable, but I would say it was potentially intervenable. If he had been seen after vomiting, blood work and an ultrasound could have given us clues. Liver values, diabetes, something underlying that might have led to treatment. We'll never know. They could have started putting him on liquids and treating him immediately that night. As you remember, I said, we did not receive photos of Luca. Hindsight is 2020. I'm trying to give the situation as much grace as I physically can through a lot of deep prayer, right? Seeing these photos, I would like to say in my heart, I know that Luca's never looked like this in his life. He's never been sick in his life. He's not even 3 years old, never had anything wrong with him. I would like to think in my heart that I would say, can you take him to the ER? He does not look good. The vet says if he would have been taken to the ER, we could have treated him and he could have had a chance, a fight for his life. We also asked if stress or being in a new environment could play a role. And she said, quote, anxiety itself wouldn't directly cause fatty liver, but if anxiety led to him eating less, that could have contributed, which really ties into what we're saying, that we heard from the sitter that there was anxiety, and yet Rover is not taking that into account at all. In fact, Rover told us, oh, we've investigated. And we said, where are your findings of your investigation? And they said, we cannot share that with you due to safety reasons, but we assure you that proper protocols have been put in place. During this investigation, we don't even have the necropsy yet. Rover reactivated the sitter. This drove me to hysterics because I'm like, how can you in your heart say that you're doing everything you can to help our family and to get answers, but you won't tell us your findings? You didn't take a formal statement, and you reactivated the sitter in the middle of your investigation. What's to come just drove me because the lack of compassion for a company that was bought by like one of the biggest companies in the entire world is was just astounding to me. And I am one example, and that's why I really want to warn all families to really take guard when you're figuring out your pet care, because in my eyes, Rover needs to take accountability. First, the autopsy itself was inconclusive. The official wording says cause of death is not histologically apparent. The most significant finding was moderate diffuse hepatic lipidosis, which simply means a fatty liver. Rover has tried to use this to suggest that Luca had an underlying condition, which it could imply, but it also, according to our veterinarian, could not. Our veterinarian explained that fatty liver can also develop within just a few days if a dog isn't eating enough, as I said. So, for example, this could be due to stress. In other words, it's a suggestion, what they're implying. It's not a clear answer. There is no definitive cause of death. Second, there is a complete lack of transparency. They're refusing to share this investigation findings with us. Even though Luca died in the care of one of their sitters, they reactivated her account while the investigation was still going on. This was so devastating to me, and it truly lit a fire in me. And third, their guarantee. They have a $25,000 policy Rover guarantee. They promote it. You guys have said they're advertising all over my videos. And a big thing that kind of makes owners feel more at ease is that they're like, oh, Rover's got me. They'll take care of me if anything happens. And as my husband pointed out, it's Swiss cheese. There are a lot of holes in that Rover guarantee. It's full of exclusions. And when a tragedy actually happens, those exclusions, in our opinion, mean that families are left like ours without meaningful support. So I'm going to take you through these emails and you can make your own conclusion as to how you feel about this entire situation. We got the necropsy. They asked for all the invoices. We said, as discussed, I'm providing Luca's necropsy report. And we were nervous because we knew the report was inconclusive, but we also understood that the proper protocols were not taken. And also, there needs to be accountability for the loss of life when it is unknown and the environmental changes that we then learned of could have contributed. The possibility that all of these factors should have been enough for a company to say, you know what, we're going to take accountability. We're going to obviously pay for this. We're going to take care of a new pet in the future. And no, they refused time and time again to show compassion. And we were hoping to come on this video and say, you know what, guys, we really showed us so much compassion, and that did not happen. It gets even worse. We sent them this email and we said, we pursued this procedure in good faith with the understanding that it would be central to determining what happened to Luca while under the care of a Rover sitter. To reiterate the facts, he was in perfect condition, no known underlying conditions prior to this stay. There was no report card, everything that we essentially told you earlier in this video. Given the circumstances, we're requesting confirmation that you are going to cover the necropsy and the afterlife care, a clear update on the findings of the investigation, and appropriate financial compensation for our dog under the care of a sitter, including costs associated with obtaining a new dog of the same breed. As you can understand, a lot of people get mini golden doodles. They're very expensive breeds. And we also invested thousands of dollars to make sure that our dog had the best care. What really shocked me was that the representative said, thank you for providing these documents. I can confirm that your request for a replacement pet has been authorized, and I will review these documents additionally. I'll reach back out to you within 72 hours with the next steps with my leadership. So I was under the impression you're confirming that the request for a replacement pet has been authorized. I sent this to all my family because I wanted to make sure, like, wow, they're actually going to show compassion and at least help in the most small way financially of helping with the replacement pet. Every single one of my family members, including a lawyer, said, yes, that is what they're saying. This is a win. I honestly burst into tears because I said that you can't replace Luca, obviously, but they said, take this as a win. Hours later, after now I'm feeling like a little bit better because I'm like, okay, That was very kind of them because they understand there's so much nuance to the situation. They decide to reverse that decision, guys, and they call it a misunderstanding. They send us an email. So I'm saying I truly appreciate this thoughtful response in the confirmation that Rover will cover the cost of a replacement pet. We're also grateful that you'll be reviewing the other reimbursement requests. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much. And they say, I'm so sorry for the confusion. I meant that your request was authorized and confirmed to be brought by leadership. At the time, we don't have any confirmation to provide any next steps. I, again, apologize. This made me think of when a company says something wrong, more often than not, a company will adhere to what they have promised. Over 10 people read that email and said, wow, they're gonna offer you a replacement pet. Which I hate that term, by the way. I was the one that said, I don't know, is that what they mean? And they said, yeah. And then to say, oops, misunderstanding. At that point, leadership should have been involved and they should have said, this is terrible. I can't believe you just offer this. Now we need to live up to that promise and you just need to do it. This is a couple $1,000s. This is literally nothing, but it is a gesture of compassion in which I do not believe that this company has. And then to take that back, that was insane. I share with them, we are in utter disbelief. Your earlier message clearly stated that our request for replacement pet was authorized, and now reversing that position is both frustrating and deeply disheartening, especially in light of the circumstances surrounding Luca's passing under the care of a Rover sitter. Given this, we trust you will escalate this to leadership with the expectation that Rover will honor that commitment. In your prior email, we have provided the necropsy and all requested invoices. We expect Rover to review this promptly and to take action. Then they said, thank you for your patience. As I met with leadership team, your grief is completely understandable, and I appreciate your patience as we navigate the situation together. The necropsy results indicate the cause of passing is unable to be accurately determined. However, the most significant finding is the hepatic lipidosis, which we discussed, which I went over with you, which suggests an underlying health concern such as diabetes. Hepatic lipidosis is a named exclusion under the Rover guarantee terms of service, as its onset isn't typically something that can be controlled by a pet service provider. You just heard that my veterinarian said it could be. So for more information on this, we encourage you to speak with your veterinarian. We, after speaking with leadership, because it's a named exclusion, we cannot provide financial support for a replacement pet, but we will cover the expenses for getting the necropsy. Here's the thing. They only wanted to do this if we signed a DocuSign agreeing that we were going to waive our right to ever speak about this again. And for us, this felt more like silencing us than compassion. This was the most measly amount, which we would have accepted if that was all. But to say, now you have to sign your rights away, you have to sign your story away. We are signing a disparaging agreement where you'll never speak badly about our company. I'm not speaking badly about your company. I am doing what I feel like I was called on this earth to do, which is speak the truth. Our silence is not worth $600. I would rather share my story than ever take a dime under these circumstances. All of this is why I cannot in good faith recommend Rover, not as a pet owner, not as a sitter. I understand there are a lot of good sitters on the platform, but the way this company handles care and accountability and transparency, or I should say lack thereof, is unacceptable in my eyes. Based on this experience, when the worst thing happens, they do not protect families. And we push back. And we said, while I appreciate the response, I'm concerned by Rover's decision to frame hepatic lipidosis as a diagnosis when the necropsy clearly states that the cause of death is not histologically apparent. The hepatic lipidosis noted was mild and may have been secondary, not primary. Luca was reported anxious and unsettled, yet we were notified until nearly 9 p.m. Friday, limiting our ability to act. We said the necropsy's mention of hepatic lipidosis does not rule out negligence as a contributing factor. To frame this solely as a potential underlying condition is misleading. This is not simply about the Rover guarantee. It's about accountability, offering reimbursement for only the necropsy and afterlife care while requiring us to release Rover from all claims and agree to confidentiality is not justice. We continued to demand any sort of minimal justice, which was just, can you please pay for help and aid in a replacement pet? Also, just justice for Luca, Oh, because things are nebulous, but we're not going to help you. And they said, no, we can only pay for the necropsy. You have to sign your story away. And I'm sorry, guys, but I can't sign my story away for $600. That's insane. I would rather inform you guys than take a dime. Losing Luca has been shattering. He wasn't just a pet. As you know, he was our family member. Every corner of our home feels different now. Every walk is quieter. Every night feels emptier. We prayed truly that Rover would meet us with compassion. We hoped and believed that they would. We thought that they did when they offered compassion and then stripped it away from us. That even if the necropsy didn't give us clear answers, that they would acknowledge the unknown, the lack of transparency and communication, and what we considered was problematic handling of the situation. And instead, their responses only deepened our grief. Promises were made and then they were pulled back. Explanations shifted. Compensation was tied to signing our rights away. This experience has not left us only broken, but also without trust. And based on what we went through, as I said, we cannot in good faith recommend using Rover. This is our personal perspective, and we share it because we would never want another family to face what we faced. Every email caused another wound. Explanations that didn't match the report, promises made then extracted, and reimbursement tied to our silence. We are not here to blame an individual sitter. We're here to say, in our opinion, Rover's policies and communications left us without answers, without support, and without compassion. I want to offer some advice from our veterinarian for future pet sitters, dog owners, when they are looking for care. Our vet gave us some advice that was really good. She said for young, healthy dogs, yearly blood work can create a baseline. So that way, if your dog ever does get sick, vets can quickly check what's changed. Some dogs also do better in their own homes. Luca had been socialized. He'd been around a lot of pets. He loved being around dogs. He had been overnight with other dogs, like family friend dogs. But especially with dogs who might exhibit some anxiety, it is best to have a sitter come to your house. Also, I would say put cameras everywhere. There are also some boarding facilities that are directly connected to veterinary clinics. You can ask to tour those facilities. She said progress it, like if you're going to have a dog be boarded, try 1 day first, then 2 days, then 3 days. If you're going to go through a platform like this, require daily updates from your sitter, exchange phone numbers, which I know they don't want you to do, but we thought that she had our phone number because, again, we'd never used this platform in that way. And she said, I wasn't allowed to call you. You're not allowed to call me in emergency. So I think it's very important that you receive photos, I would say even videos every night of your pet. And also that this person had been trained and had like taken every test, all the things in dog training. You need to understand as a sitter that what you would do for a pet might not be the same that an owner would do for the pet. So to make the decisions on behalf of the owner is irresponsible without consulting the owner. So to downplay things, to not send photos, you need to make very clear, hey, if my dog does this, notify me right away. If my dog does this, send him to the hospital. We can't change what happened to Luca, but we can share his story. I personally would get blood work like once a year. I would work your hardest to try to find, they also have vet techs that watch dogs overnight. I would test out a vet tech that has experience, that has recommendations. I would have them in your home. I would see how they interact with your dog. I would set up clear boundaries. I would never put my future dog in this sort of situation. If this helps even one family with what we've been through, I know it's a nuanced situation, but again, everything from the start has been awful and it has done a number on us. It really has. I think it did a number on us in even just like trusting people and humanity and companies, like big, huge companies. This is your loved one you're talking about. So I hope that Luca's life continues to make a difference. I really, really do. Many people have asked how they can help, and that really does mean so much to us because this is a crazy time. If you would like to donate to help cover these expenses and to support our future furry friends, we are deeply grateful. I am now working as an independent journalist, building our show, building our channel. Every single dollar helps us continue to share important stories. And like I said, I realize that we both have so much love to give. It's opened up our hearts to other possibilities within our family in the future, which is great. But I was so excited to get to work from home to spend time with Luca. That's not possible. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't think I would cry.
I know I always say that, but I really don't ever think I'm gonna cry. I'm really thankful also just like for your compassion. You guys have shown way more compassion than Rover ever did. And the strength that you've given me, I feel like I become stronger and stronger every day. And I also get more brave to share stories and to be outspoken and to also laugh. And we're so thankful to have you guys along for this journey. And for all those praying for Luca and for all those who said your pets are with him now at the rainbow. This is going to sound really weird, but I've had a couple dreams of Luca. And my last one, this is going to sound really weird, but I want to share it because maybe it'll make someone's day. I was holding him like a baby, like I would hold him like a little baby. This is crazy. And it was my mom's voice that came out of Luca's body. And he said, "Wonderful, love you, and I have to go." And then he jumped out of my arms. And that was really wild. My mom's voice, my mom in heaven, out of Luca's body. And he said, "I love you and I have to go." So I love you guys and I have to go. And there are good people in this world and you guys are among them. And we thank you so much. And now it's time to close this chapter. I really can't believe that they handled it this way. I'm really, really disappointed. That's all I can say. But I am looking forward to another furry friend in the future. But they're never going to replace. He was our soul dog. My bond with him is just like, it's irreplaceable. I don't know like when or if our hearts will fully heal. If you have any recommendations, please leave them in the comments. But we're going to get through this one step at a time. I love you, Luca. And thank you for all the light that you brought into our life. I'll see you guys later. I love you guys.